What Jamie and I are now about to demonstrate is called guided reading. Now guided reading is a part of scaffolded reading. There's also scaffolded writing, but we're focusing on scaffolded reading. Scaffolding is a three-step process to help nurture and encourage students from having very little literacy exposure to being independent readers and writers. The first stage of scaffolding is known, or the scaffolded approach, is known as modelled reading. Now modelled reading is where the teacher will basically read to the students and try and encourage enthusiasm in storytelling. A lot of parents do this innately with their children when they're younger. They read stories to them because they want to encourage them and bring them into fantasy worlds and things like that. The next stage is known as shared reading. Now shared reading is where the teacher will hopefully, if possible, use a larger book with larger text to engage the students in the next stage of reading, rather than just listening to a story, starting to understand the words, the punctuation, and how a story is actually portrayed in text. The next stage is known as guided reading, which is what Jamie and I will be demonstrating. Guided reading is normally done in groups of 4 to 6 students of similar ability. However, Jamie and I are doing it as a one-on-one. It basically involves the student being shown the book, being shown new words, new punctuations, and the teacher will try and encourage the student in understanding what's happening with the story. Who's this bear? Where do you think this set? Is this going to be a happy story or a sad story? Starts to basically get the students thinking about the story before they've started reading it, to start encouraging them to want to know what's going to happen in the story, see if their ideas are right. Then the story is obviously read by the students to the teacher. Being a very small group, the teachers then also able to correct students and assist them through anything that they're having trouble with. Anyway, so that's guided reading. Jamie and I will now demonstrate. Okay, this book we're going to be reading now is called The Big Honey Hunt. And my lovely assistant Jamie's going to help me read The Big Honey Hunt, aren't you, Jamie?
Yes.
Yes. Now what can we see on the cover of The Big Honey Hunt?
A little bear, a big bear, and a bee running and following the bee.
Flying away, the
yeah.
bee, yeah? So what's the book called? The Big Honey Hunt. So what do you think the bears are doing?
Trying to follow the bee to get some honey.
Follow the bee to get some honey, you think? Okay. Well, let's have a quick look through here, look at the book, see what we can see. Looks like they're looking for honey, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Who are the two main characters, you think?
Is the little bear and the big bear.
Little bear and the big bear? Yeah, I think so. Any other characters? Look, what's that?
Ow.
Now, do you think this looks like it's going to be a funny book or a scary book? Or a sad book?
I think it's going to be a funny book.
Do you think they'll find honey?
Yeah.
Because it has to have a happy ending?
Yeah.
You think?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, let's choose a page to read. And we'll just give this a shot. Actually, before we do that, I'll look for some other things to show you. What do they mean when there's a squiggly line with a dot on the bottom?
It means, he says, he's like, that's not so good and stuff.
Not so good and stuff? That's called a question mark. Yeah. What do you think a question mark would be?
He's telling a question.
Asking a question. So everything before it would be a question, yeah? Mm-hmm. What about that one? Looks like a question mark, but instead of being a squiggly line, it's a straight line with a dot on the bottom. Do you know what that means?
It means it's like... Oh God.
You can't remember? It's like an exclamation, it's called an exclamation mark, and what that does is it means all the lines before it are said with almost like the characters yelling. So it says here, on with the honey hunt, rather than saying on with the honey hunt, it's like, on with the honey hunt! Yeah? Alright, let's pick a page and we'll read the page. Okay, here we go. Read this for me.
I will find
good.
Get
Good.
that will
No, I will
get
you yeah.
honey. I said I will.
Not willed like will, but it's got ooh and a ood at the end. It's a
willed.
Close. Would.
Would.
Yep.
Be.
But
that honey.
Okay.
Bee's honey was not so good.
Very good. Well done. Okay, so we'll go to the start. So that's how it's going. Does that sound like it's a little different to you? Does it sound like maybe, I will get you honey, I said I would, but that bee's honey was not too good? It's rhyming, isn't it? It's sounding like a song, like a poem, like a rhyme. Do you think it's all going to go like that?
No.
No? Just that bit?
Yeah.
Alright. Alright, we're going to go back to the start and we'll read it from the start, but we won't film it from the start, okay?